Well, good morning, Jack. On John Tice coming to you today. Today we'd like to talk a little bit about buyer qualifications. This is something that's been bubbling up and around. I've been paying attention to this now for weeks, probably a lot longer than that. But John Horn kind of brought it to the front the other day during his presentation. And I hope all of you got a chance to get out and catch John and see some of his just very simple approaches to things you do every day. Not a lot of magic there, just a lot of common sense, and maybe asking the right question, or, in my opinion, just taking control of the situation. With these buyers today, particularly because today we're talking about buyer qualification, with the buyer today, you want to take some control. I've heard and talked to so many of you, and I watch what you're doing, and you're out there, and they're showing up with a list of 42 homes. And you're out there showing 17 homes in a day. Now, the reload people, that's a little different animal, and maybe we'll tackle that separately, but I believe a lot of these things will easily translate, whether it's a local buyer or a relocating buyer. You have so many tools at your fingertips today. So I think what we've allowed is for everybody to take control of our time. And that's my concern for you. You're putting so much time into these folks, and I don't know what your ratio is for selling them and closing them or not. Maybe showing 42 homes is the right thing for you. I just look at it and say, man, that takes a lot of time. That takes so much prep and planning and running around. And I know if you walked me through 22 homes, I'd be hard-pressed to have any idea what I've seen. So let's put a little method to the madness, and we're going old school on you today. A couple things that I've come up with, and maybe it's old school to me, but it might be something that will be helpful to you, and it could be new to you, depending on where you are in this business. Years ago, we didn't have lenders to pre-qualify a buyer. We didn't have the tools that you have today. It was up to us. And the one thing I know, I didn't want to show you one home, much less 10 homes, without knowing your ability as a buyer to buy, because we didn't do buyer qualification through a lender. The lenders didn't really want to talk to you. They didn't have the tools we have today. So it was up to me to know the loan programs, to know the ratios, to know some of the questions, to know the holes that we fell into along the way. So I could narrow down your choices to something that was affordable for you. And I'm talking within $1 or $2 or $3 for qualifying. Then we would find a home, put an agreement together, and then we'd all show up for that big moment when you're meeting with the lender. And it's kind of like hanging around the delivery room waiting for a baby. Most cases, we weren't in the room with the buyer and the lender, but we'd be sitting outside waiting for the lender to come out and give us thumbs up, or just get that, yeah, sorry, John, this isn't going to work. They gave back a car to a bank 2 years ago. They're, late. The reporting requirements weren't the same, so the credit issues weren't as often, but they were still very important, and they would sink your deal immediately. So, but they'd come out shaking their head either yes or no, and you either had a deal that was going forward or you didn't. And all that work went down the tube. So we weren't doing this often for nothing, at least not this man, because this is certainly where our living comes from. So let me give you a couple ideas that might be helpful to you and save you some time. And the word that you're going to keep hearing from me is control. You need to take control of these situations, in my opinion, guys. What can you do to help the folks understand how you work, the way the system works, how to be helpful, not a hindrance, and the amount of data that's coming their way today is overwhelming. So I don't know if you're watching RealtyTrack in the news. RealtyTrack is another website to view properties, and it's another Zillow, another Trulia. All the home data is there. But the one with RealtyTrack that's really getting the news attention right now, and I don't feel like logging in, is when I do a search for your property, right along with your property, you know what's going to come up? Here are the sex offenders that are nearby, and it's going to map them. Here are the hazardous waste sites that are nearby, and it doesn't say want to search for them. It will say, with this home, there are 3 waste sites nearby. It doesn't tell you what nearby is, and I haven't been able to figure out the range that they're using, but there are 3 hazardous waste sites nearby. There are 43 registered sex offenders nearby. It will show you their picture, it will give you their name, and it will map them all around your property. Now, guys, the articles that are being written right now are this tremendous fear of, is this going to just crush some neighborhoods where you're not going to make a sale? You might want to search around your listing. Then again, you might not. This is one where, do you want to know what's happening nearby? My role is always, in my mind, to make you aware of what your consumers are finding. And this is in the news, so I'm sure a lot of people are finding this information right now. You need to be aware of it. So you might want to log into RealtyTrack and see what's going on generally in your area, see what's going on around your property, because these properties just got put under the microscope, guys. And with one click, I can bring it up. I'm not saying that we should hide from this data. I'm not saying that this isn't a good thing for a home buyer to know. What I'm saying is, where do we cross the line to too much information? And you might find that these folks that you're working with are hesitant to make a deal, and when you can't find out why, it could be that I don't want to be near a sex offender, and tell you, when you see these maps, you're going to wonder, where should you land? So just a tip. So might be something that we need to add to our qualifying script. So many of you know that I'm a big fan of Mike Ferry, and I like the idea because we're going to drill it down quickly and find out what makes you tick. So Mike has a qualifying sheet here for home buying and for your motivation. And I think that's the bottom line. Let's take their pulse and find out where their motivation lies. What are the things that they're really looking for in a home? And so many of you haven't been trained or raised and brought up in this business to use any kind of a qualifying script like this. I'm telling you, this is old school stuff. But it's where we began, many of us, and the things that I still have rolling around in my mind. I've always said, I'll show anybody one home. But when I walk out of that home, I'm going to know a lot about you. I'm going to know you where you work. I know your expectations. I'll probably have your income payment that's comfortable for you. And we're going to have a plan. And if you're just out opening doors, guys, come on, you got to raise your game. I want to see you make some money. Everybody's busy. Everybody's running around, and I'm not seeing enough return for how busy everybody says they are. And I'm trying to bring some things to you. So, you know, for me, I like a lot of these questions. How many bedrooms and baths? How many features? Are you committed to a down payment? Or, you know, all the standard stuff. I have 2 questions for you. What are the top 3 things that you're looking for in the home you're going to buy? And the home that you call home, what called to you from this, about this home? I'm going to tell you, well, it was the location. We always admired that brick home. I love that big yard. I only look in this school district. There's always going to be a list. They've got it. And the simple thing is, ask them. And then turn on your ears. Be a good listener. Where we're falling down on the job, and I loved it when John said it the other day, just be a listener. Pay attention, know what they've said, and now I have those points to come back to. Well, you know, you told me that this was a school district you were interested in. You only wanted something with a large fenced yard, so I found that property for you. So I'm going to take your 43 properties, and I'm going to pick out the 5, or like John suggested, the 10 that are that look like the best, and out of that 10, I'm going to pick the best 3, and we're going to go look at them. We're going to see which one you want to buy. And you're going to find, you know, the number one thing a buyer wants from you? They want you to help them find the perfect home and then help them negotiate it. It isn't, be the guy with the keys that shows me all the homes that I ever come up with. No, why don't you read them out? You have access to more information. So if I tell you that it's super important that they're in a certain school district, a certain price range, that they have a certain feature, let's take them seriously. I can tell you from my experience, a buyer, I've sold many buyers that came to me frustrated after working with other agents. And the number one thing they told me repeatedly, the other agent never listened to me. I only wanted to look at homes up to $125,000. I'm qualified to 170, so what were they doing? They were showing me homes 160, actually over 170. I didn't want to spend that amount of money. So don't be that guy. Maybe you want to drill it down. My favorite question for anybody. So you're qualified to 170, but what's a comfortable figure for you? And let them give you a monthly payment, and then just use your skills and work out their payment and close them on that all day long. And as long as you work your way around that number, they're going to know that you were paying attention, that you're listening. And if I can make this deal work for you at your $1,100 a month, or if I call and say, you know, I know you love this home, but at this counter, you need to figure it's $5.12 for every $1,000 you're borrowing. And right now, this one's going to cost you $11.30 to go back with this counter. What do you think? Now, the easy part is really for $30 a month or maybe $20 a month, do you think you're going to find a home that's going to match this for $30 a month that you want to start looking again? Boil it down to the ridiculous. Keep it simple, but keep it in terms that that buyer can relate to. We like to start talking and run off in all kinds of tangents. Oh, come on, you know, it's perfect. The kids liked it. You got to find out where their motivation lies. Maybe it is important for them that the children like it. Maybe it is important that they're meeting someone else's criteria. You know, you had your mother-in-law here with you, and she really thought this was a great house for you guys. At the end of the day, someone's got to pay for this thing, and it most often comes down to a feature and the price. My folks this week, I closed them on the nice fenced backyard and $5 per thousand. And it was just that simple. When we got done, you know, you're right, you know, boy, for $10 or $15, $20 a month. Yeah, and if I had to buy a home, if I didn't buy this home, if I found another and had to add all that fencing, we're talking thousands of dollars. You're absolutely right. For $20 a month, this is a no-brainer. And we closed the deal. So know the things that make them tick. Like I said, I've got two simple techniques that I use. Tell me the top 3 things that you're looking for in a home. And watch the two of them really stand there and think in front of you of what's going to be important in our home buying decision. And as John said, pay attention to the wife because she's probably the one that's going to win with her list of criteria. You know what guys want? They either want a finished basement or they want a great garage. What do the ladies want? Well, that's all over the place. But pay attention to them and help the guy get his garage. So everybody gets to play in this, and it's fun to just kind of play back and forth with them. My other simple technique, and I'd love if you tried this and got back to me, told me what you thought of it. I love to ask people as they're going about to see homes, I need you to do one favor for me. We're going to see several homes today. And, you know, when you walk through a home and you love it, love it, love it, what a great house, what a great location, oh my gosh, what a great kitchen, what a great fenced yard. Everything is great. When we step outside that home, if everything is great, I'm going to expect you to buy it. So what I'd really like from you, if you want to buy, great. But if it's a home that you saw and it was great, and please don't do this in front of the owner. I don't want you to give feedback in front of them. But when we step outside, we're on our own. Tell me what you liked and didn't like. It's going to help my search and help me drill down this list of 42 homes to 3 or 5 that we can really make them fit for you. Today we have all this data. We've got photos of everything in most cases. Take advantage of these tools and qualify the properties. And Ms. Johnson, I brought you the 3 best homes to show you today based on your criteria, that'd be John Horn for a while. But think about that. Take control, be the professional, based on what you wanted, the fenced yard, the school district, the price range, the ones you had, a lot of these just didn't qualify. Half of them didn't have yards. So I kind of dropped them for the time being. We'll keep them in our hip pocket if we get desperate. But let's look at the ones that are the best ones for you based on what you've been telling. Your yard, you're looking, and just repeat it to them. And they're standing there going, this guy's really paying attention. It sounds so simple, but I could walk into homes today, I can tell you, I can drive you right up to them, where I've sold people homes, and they said, you were the only person that heard that first 4-family room was important to us. You were the only one that stayed with the payment that I wanted. And it just goes on and on and on. It's not that hard to listen to somebody. Apparently it is, because we like to talk too much. But it's just not that hard to get these folks qualified. Mike's form is great. If you don't like Mike's style, HUD has one. What are you looking for? What part of town? What price range? Are schools a factor? Do you want an older or newer home? These are all simple questions. I know it's exciting when you get that buyer on the phone, when you get that party in a house, and you don't know what to say. Print this out, have it with you, and write things down. Is a fireplace important? A workshop? No interior steps? I mean, this is pretty clear, but like they're saying, take notes, write it down, and do a little interview perhaps as you walk through the house. Whatever is your comfort zone, there are forms out there. I Googled these this morning and found them in a minute. So do you need to be close to public transportation? Do you have physical needs that must be met? Do you have any animals that require special facilities? Animals need all kinds of special things. The home I've sold recently had an attached garage. This man has never had a garage. He has 2 dogs. A fenced yard was important to him. He has a child, so they had special interest there, but they wanted a cozy wood fireplace. And it all came together, and it's just simple to close them on those points. Do you really want to start looking again? Because the homes that we've seen, that attached garage, wood fireplace, great fenced yard, we haven't seen anything like that. We were looking at higher prices. They actually bought in a school district that they never thought they would buy in, because that's where the great value was. And people are moving more into the in-town neighborhoods. So it's not a great big surprise, but it was surprising to them that they would consider that area, and they found a house that they loved. So don't be afraid to stretch them a little bit. Ms. Johnson, I did my search today, and I came up with a home, and I want you to know I'd love to show it to you. It meets all your criteria. However, it's in a different school district. I'm going to send you that information. Let me know if it's something you want to see, but it's perfect for you for every other point. In fact, it's $20,000 less than what you offered to spend. Would you want to take a look at that with me today? Honor their concerns, honor their list, and throw one at them every now and then. You'll be amazed at how many times you can sell them that house, and they appreciate your efforts. Rolling over and showing them the 42 homes they came up with, and finding out they went out and bought something over the weekend with somebody else that on a property that you never considered, different school district, all these things, and then we stand around and go, buyers are liars. Buyers don't know what they want. Number one thing buyers are relying on you is to help them find the perfect home. Step up and give them what they want. Turn on your ears, listen to them, ask them a couple probing questions, get them to that lender, make them do some of the work themselves before you run around and show them those homes and find out they can't afford any of them. And now they're never going to buy a home because their expectation is up here and their qualifying is down here. Do yourself a favor, do them a favor, and then create a flow. Guys, let me explain how I work. Outline it and get them involved. You're going to find out you're going to have a higher success rate. It's going to save you a lot of time. You're going to have happier customers. It's just that simple. So buyer qualifying, know the information that's out there, be ready to answer it, have a flow, have a process, have a questionnaire, but do something and save yourself some time and close more deals. John Tice coming to you. Have a great weekend, and Talk to you next week.